It was just an amazing experience, especially to get to work with Destin, who I've known for a number of years, and to be able to be involved with such a beautiful book and just to be a part of it was really, really special. The beauty of the source material is really the thing that makes it different, and in our approach to adapting it, it was the one thing we always kept in mind is how to be true to the essence of Jeanette's story. But in talking with her and interviews with her, I think that even the parts that aren't from the book are so informed and reflected by her life. So I think the connection with her and that material is really what makes it a different sort of experience. We really felt like the core aspect of the novel that kind of carries throughout is this one woman's love with her father, even though it was a challenging and kind of up and down sort of relationship, and that hopefully, even though her story is more dramatic in her life than most people's, that there's a lot of universal truths that I think a lot of people will hopefully take away from it.
It's Destin and Brett and Nat and Murin and Joy, who are the team from Short Term 12, and getting to reteam with them. But ultimately, it's Jeanette and her strength and her story, and the fact that she was so trusting in us to take her life and turn it into a film is so moving. I thought Destin did such a brilliant job with the script, and I just felt a lot of fire inside of me to tell her story right. This was a really different experience for me because usually I have to sort of piece things together like a puzzle and go in different directions and talk to different specialists in different fields to piece it together. But with this, it felt kind of bizarre to do that when I could just talk to the actual person. So it felt awkward at first. I'm like, I feel like I should be doing more things. But it really just boiled down to spending a lot of time talking with Jeanette, spending a lot of time going on walks, thinking about it, and working on the accent. She has a very bizarre accent and says different, the word like, she says it 5 different ways. So I had to start taking audio recordings of her and pulling it apart and trying to figure out which pieces I wanted to use, which I felt were relevant to the story. I was scared, it's been a while, and I was worried that I was gonna let him down, disappoint him, or what if I was changed? What if I was different? I didn't realize that. What if he's gonna be like, I miss the old Brie? But I was happy that by the end of it, he was like, you're better. I'm a better actor now. I think I'm a better person to work with. So I felt really good. I got A+ from him. Woody is someone that I've known for such a long time. He's a part of my family. So to bring him into the Short Term 12 family to make this film was really special. And I think because we have this rapport and so much love for each other, we were able to go to these darker places because ultimately there's so much safety in that love.
I'm very proud of everybody. It's so cool to see everybody walking down this carpet, all these lights. But it's like a family made this movie, so it's nice to see everyone again. I mean, I felt like a fanboy. I felt like watching legends that I'd grown up watching movies with do their thing. It was so cool to see. I just stayed close to Jeanette and we tried to keep her, get her voice into everything that we were doing. So from the writing to the pre-production, she was always there to bounce ideas off of and get her input on everything that we were doing.
The actors and the director were just so passionate about getting it right. It was such nuanced performances and layered storytelling that I thought it was respectful and beautiful. It took my breath away. Every performance. I think I was kind of given veto. They kept on asking me, are you okay with this? Are you okay? I never needed to sort of second guess anybody because it was just all done with such elegant precision, intelligence, empathy. And I couldn't be happier with the product. The director is a genius, a compassionate genius. And people asked me if I wanted to direct it or make it myself. And I very quickly realized, a couple of times I disagreed with Destin. I said, well, what about this? And he told me his reasoning for what he did, and I immediately realized Destin is smarter than I am. I'm just going to let him do his thing and work with him when he needs me, but not second guess him. What I would love for people to feel after seeing this movie is I'd love for them to think about their own families a little more. I'd love it if they're thinking about the walls as while they're watching it, but when they're leaving the movie theaters, think about their own family. We all have a story. And I've learned that revisiting your stories, you can maybe get some of the gifts that you passed over the first time around. but this is funny because I used to be on that side. So I used to be the person doing the interviewing, and I love these people. You know, they're all working so hard, and it feels such an honor to be on the other side. And, you know, this is just how stories get made. This is lovely.
I mean, the story is incredible. I mean, it's like something that could speak to the whole world, and it means a lot to a lot of people. So yeah, it was pretty neat. Like on weekends, we do like picnics and stuff like that, and everybody would get together a lot to sort of create that bond. So yeah, that was a real thing.
I got to read with Bree, and we did pretty much all the scenes from the film with Destin, sort of like working with us, and remember like doing the best work of my life in that room and feeling like, oh, now I really want to be a part of this. And then it worked out, and I feel really lucky to have been chosen to be a part of this cast and to have sort of the responsibility of telling the story. You know, I realized inherently there's a part of me that represents this guy pretty fully. I'm from New York. He feels like an Upper East Side. The only difference is I was Upper West Side. And it was like an Upper East Side Jewish guy. My dad was worked in finance. This guy's a bit, so it's like I tried to really not overthink it and focus more on story. Their story that takes place in the 80s with David and Jeanette is somewhat like the skeleton to the film, and it you know holds together all the flashback scenes, and I knew how important that was, so I just tried to like really focus on story and listen to Destin and try to support Bree as much as I could. It's a complicated movie. I mean, the book was complicated. I remember reading the book and being like, I forget, early on, and shutting the book and being like, these are bad people. And then like moving through that, and just when you get to a place where you want to give up on them, they do something so loving, and you fall for them all over again, and it sort of swings back and forth throughout the book and throughout the film in the same way. And I think Woody and Naomi do such a beautiful job with that you really don't know like what you don't really know what the right thing to do is, whether it is to turn your back on them or to really just embrace them and take the good from who they are and understand that they're your family and embrace that love.
I just felt like a really great story that there's a way in for everybody. We've all had the family experience, whether we've come from one or created one ourselves. We're all strange and wonderful in our own ways and quirky, and it just felt like it's one that's easy to fall into. It's very moving, it's full of adventure, but it's never one thing. You experience so much through the whole journey, and I think Destin did a beautiful job of adapting it. So lots of preparation. I really fell in love with Rosemary. I just thought she was kind of an fascinating woman because she was able to move with such light and positivity despite how difficult these times were that they were going through, with no money and no food on the table sometimes. She was able to say, let's get through this. This is an adventure, and have fun along the way. And obviously, I talked to Jeanette a lot and wrote to Jeanette, had an email exchange. And what happened during the filming experience is we all ended up talking about our own personal experiences, and some of them kooky, funny stories, some more tragic, but that was the great experience of doing it. So we all brought it with us, and it was kind of cathartic. I think there's a lot of hope in the story. The fact that she owned who she was eventually, with the encouragement of her mother and her father. We're the sum of all parts. We've gone through hell and back, but you can still get through. You can survive, and Jeanette felt like she was living a life that didn't feel authentic. So the fact that she was able to get to the other side of that and own herself and make choices that felt more true is a good thing.
wanted to be a part of the project in the initial because Destin was going to be directing, and I really loved Short Term 12, and big fan of Bree in that, and their sort of dynamic that they created, and wanted to be a part of that. So, and then once I'd read the script, and then once I got the role, then reading the book, it was, obviously the cherry on top. Laurie is the eldest sister of the Walls family. She's the eldest. She's probably more of the reserved, sardonic, quite a dry wit. In terms of my preparation, I used the book quite a lot. I tried to take the opinion that the book is told from one perspective. It's told from Jeanette's perspective, and Laurie might have a different story. And I didn't want to intrude on her life too much to get all my mannerisms the same as Laurie. I thought it was more important to tell the story unified between the eldest versions of Laurie all the way through.